Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to fold this origami wrench. This is a simple design that I came up with not too long ago, and yeah, it's very simple. I'm surprised no one's come up with it, but anyways, here it is. And yeah, with that being said, grab some paper and let's get folding. Alright, so for this model I'd recommend a 6-inch square. I'd also recommend you use gray, but this time I'm just going to use purple just because as I said, this model is very easy and very beginner friendly. Alright, so we're going to start with rows of 16ths. So first off, let's turn over and let's valley fold in half. Let's unfold and let's valley fold both the edges to the center line. Alright, now let's turn over and let's bring this bottom edge to the center crease, but let this flap swing out. And then let's valley fold this raw edge to the center line. And let's rotate and repeat. So unfold this, letting the flap swing out. And fold to the center line. Alright, now let's unfold fold this like that. And let's fold this one down. And we're just going to valley fold up to the crease. Alright, now let's turn this way. And let's bring this crease up to this crease. Like that, so it's just a pleat. And you want to crease this really sharp so that the crease kind of goes onto this edge as well. And we're going to do the same here, bring this edge up to the crease right above it. And again, you want to crease quite sharply where that edge is so that it goes through this layer as well, so it makes it easy when we fold it back this way. Alright, let's keep going and let's do this last one. Alright, and now let's turn over. And now what we're going to do is fold these over back to the top. Kind of, yeah, like you're tearing the pages of a book. Just fold that up, and then do that with this one. And then also with this one. It's a bit easier because we creased quite sharply on those. Alright, now we're going to kind of zigzag the folds that we've already made. So let's now fold down here, and let's valley. And we're kind of going through this repeating pattern of just valleys and mountains. Alright, and now I didn't do this last one. You can see there's a gap here. So let's just do that. So valley fold the last crease that we have, and then just fold this up to the edge. Alright, and then there we have our rows of 16ths. Alright, now we're going to start on the details of the top hook of the wrench. So first what we're going to do is we're going to make 4 reverse folds. So they have to be in the center. So let's start with the first 2. Let's pull apart the edges until we find these center 2. And we're just going to reverse fold them at the top. Alright, so there's one. And there's the other one. So we have our 2 reverse folds. Now let's make one here and one here. Alright, now we have our 4 reverse folds on the top, and just make sure we have 2 of these mountains on either side. Alright, now doing an Elias or an Elias stretch, which is kind of tricky, but I'll walk you through it. So we're going to push this down, this one down, and yeah, this one down too. So that's a flat row. Then we're going to bring this edge and this edge together just by pinching it. And we're just going down 1 unit just to the other crease. And we're going to do the same over here. And then if you turn over, you can see a crease starting to form here. You just want to form that so that it aligns with the top bit. And while we're turned over here, I'm just going to do the same thing. So bring this edge and this edge together just by pinching 1 unit. Same on this side. And if we turn over, again, we should see the start of a crease forming here. So we're going to form that just by pinching. And then we can close this end of the model up and then push in here and push this side in so that we form a little V on the inside. Collapse the model. And it might be a little warpy here, like these creases might want to come out. So just a tip is just to make sure those are nice and flat. Alright, so that is the Elias stretch. Believe it or not, that is 1 step, and that is going to be the base for the hook of the wrench. Alright, so now let's turn over, and we're kind of going to do the same thing, but just larger. Instead of just the middle 4, we're going to do all of them except for these last ones. So it's a little bit easier, you don't have to count to the center, you can just start at the 1 second to the end, reverse fold it in, like that, and then just continue on here, and then just don't do the last one. Alright, there we go. I've done all of them except for these last 2. Alright, now we're going to do very much the same process. We're just going to push this down and then push it down all the way across until the very end. And then we're going to bring this, I'm going to pinch it in here, pinch it in here, and kind of valley fold down here, turn it over, and then mounted fold up here. Alright, now let's pinch in again on these sides. And then you can see the valley fold starting to form. And then you can mounted fold along here. And then keep going down, pinch, pinch. I'll go a little bit faster. Turn over and pinch all the way. Pinch, pinch on the corner. And then now that we're near the end, pinch this final one. And then pinch again, bringing this in. And then flatten it. And again, there might be some little things, kind of like this, that want to fold, but just make sure this lies nice and flat. Right, so now we should have this shorter end, this longer end. This shorter end will be for the claw, and then this will be for the little hook at the end. Alright, so let's start with making the top bit, and first before we do that we're going to flatten the handle. So we're going to open it up and then kind of fold the edges into the center, and this is through all layers. So maybe you can start seeing now that it's going to be flat this way. All the way up, or not all the way up, we're going to fold up until this edge in the center. Probably shouldn't have chosen dark purple paper, but up until this point here, and then it kind of tapers off like that. So making kind of like a Y shape right there. And then same on the other end, so continue down up until, again, sorry for the dark paper, but this point. And then we're going to make another sort of Y at the end. And then try your best to make sure that these edge creases are really close to each other, really close to the center. Also on this side, try to avoid the white space. The white space is going to happen, but just try to make it as small as possible, like that. A little hard to remember sometimes which end is the claw, which end is the hook. Just remember that the short one is the claw. So I'm going to take this, make sure it's all the way up to the end, and then we're going to flatten this way, kind of taking the Y and then just flattening it down this way. Alright, now we have started to make our model more flat this way rather than this way. Alright, so now let's work on the hook a little bit. We're going to crimp kind of, yeah, at this crease here. We're just going to make a, make a little crimp here. Or, sorry, pleat. And we're going to unfold, and then we're going to turn it into a crimp. So make the mountain first. This is a little bit tricky. And then valley along the existing creases as best as you can. And then refold it back together. And then now it's sort of crimped up like this. And I'm just going to repeat that on the other side. So we're doing it on this crease here. We're going to pleat it like that, and unfold, open it up, and one tip, make sure to open it evenly, or as evenly as you can. We're going to open it on this big layer here, and then we're going to crimp, making the V crease the mountain fold, and then the straight crease is the valley fold. Alright, something like that. Maybe try making them a little more even. Make the left side a mirror image of the right side. Alright, and then now, kind of in the middle of these 2 points, we're going to make another pleat, but we're going to make this one a little bit different. We're going to extend it further and then kind of push this point in, so it's like a squash. Actually, it's more of a petal fold a little bit. Like that. Now, you can keep it like this. That might be a bit easier. Or if you want to go hard mode, you unfold it, and then you crimp it with this little petal fold intact, so that this side looks as clean as this side. So, I'll do this. You don't have to do this, but I'll just show what it looks like. So you're going to do the same thing, crimp, but the crimp does not go all the way to the end because of this petal fold, this little V-shaped petal fold. And then we're going to bring this back down. This back side doesn't need to have too much messing around with because it should be okay. It's just this front side that needs to more or less match the other side. Alright, there we go. Probably not too necessary because it's quite hard, but as you can see, this end has this little gap in here, just like here. But if you want, you could totally just make a normal crimp, just like these ones down here. But I'll do it again over here. So again, just pleat and then make like a petal fold at the end. Alright, so that matches kind of this right one. Then let's unfold, and then let's crimp and incorporate the petal fold into it. Alright, so a little bit harder than I thought, but anyway, there is the top of the wrench. Alright, now we're going to finish off this bottom by making it a little loop, and we're going to use what I'd like to call the Jeremy Schaefer lock. So first off, let's just fold this up, and this one up, just to exercise the creases. This will be helpful later on. Okay, and then now for the lock, we're going to, let me zoom in, we're going to open this on this crease here, and then we're going to make a diagonal fold here, just going down to a better angle, and then we're going to squash, and then make sure this comes back in here, like that. I'll show that again. It looks like this, and you're going to essentially bring this point to this point, and then just squash it in like that. And then maybe clean up the layers a little bit to make it look nicer. Alright, and then we're going to do the same on this side. So you just open this kind of pocket, and then we're bringing this point to here, just by a squash. Alright, now we're going to take this flap, both of these flaps actually, and then fold it down as far as it will go, just to the points. And then let's turn over this way, and then we're going to mountain fold these in as far as they will go to the points. This might be a little bit trickier. Like that, yeah. So it might not go all the way to the points, but just as far as you can get it. Alright, now for the tricky bit. Let's hold it this way. And then we have this one flap and then this pocket. Going to stick the flap into the pocket. Make sure it's both of them that's going in there. Alright, and then we're going to, this is a little bit fiddly. What you can do is curl these, that might help, just so that you can see a bit better. Yeah, that's better. So you have this metal flap, and it's kind of hard to show. You want to kind of push it like this to whatever side is more convenient, and then you're going to push this back in. Let me try that again, sorry. Let me try it from this angle. So put the pocket in, you push on one side, and then this back flap is going to go this way. Yeah, okay, so like that. So this is the back flap, and then we've kind of positioned it to the right side and then pushing it in. And then that makes the lock. And then we can clean it up a bit in here. Okay, so there you can see the edge folded over, and then our model should be locked. Sorry, that wasn't the best showing of it. If you want, you can click up here where Jeremy Schaefer has like a good view of how to do the lock. But yeah, that's the trickiest stuff of this model, probably also the last step of this model, because wouldn't you know it, we are done our wrench. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed folding this, and in the meantime, have fun folding. Bye.